Welcome to a little bit of a strange video. Today I'm going to be doing a full spectrum conversion on a used Z6. So what does that actually mean? Well, a full spectrum conversion is when you take what's called the hot mirror filter off the sensor, which is just a piece of glass that's kind of held in place, and you replace it with a piece of clear silica or just clear glass, and that way the camera can see infrared and UV light, because if you don't know, CMOS sensors are actually sensitive to infrared and UV light. Their sensitivity extends beyond visible light. And that is why they put a piece of glass called a hot mirror filter in front of the sensor. And that essentially just filters out all the UV and infrared light, leaving only visible light, and that way you get a normal picture. So in here I have the new piece of glass to go in front of the sensor. It's also made by Kalari Vision. I haven't actually opened this yet. Well, I opened to check that it's in there, but it's sealed in there, and I don't want to open it and get dust on it, because if I get dust behind the glass, between like the sensor and the glass, there's a secondary protective layer. It won't be actually on the semiconductor. But if I get dust trapped in there, I can never get it out. So I really don't want to get dust in there. The reason I'm doing it to this Z6 is because, first of all, it's a used camera, so it's pretty cheap. I bought this in Japan, tax-free. I think it was like 680 euros for one of these, which is very good for a full-frame mirrorless. But I really like the Z6. It has IBIS, really good 4K video, and I think it's an ideal candidate for conversion because apparently it responds really well to the infrared conversion. Some of the Sony cameras can have issues apparently, but from what I read, the Z6 doesn't. Also, Nikon cameras, particularly the Z cameras, are supposed to be fairly easy to take apart from the teardowns I've seen. And that means that it's relatively easy to get the internal and the sensor out and get it back together correctly without damaging anything. Apparently it's really elegantly laid out in here. The other reason is the Z mount is the most adaptable mirrorless mount. So you can put any adapters on it. You can put E mount lenses, you can put F mount lenses with the FTZ, you can get a EOS adapter so you can do EOS lenses if you want some really nice tilt shifts that Nikon doesn't make. It makes an ideal candidate for conversion. So off to the side I've got some guides open on my computer monitor so I can see where the screws are and where to take things apart. And then we just have a toolkit where I have some areas to put screws in case they fall. This is what actually a Kodak film holder. I'm going to use it for screws, and then we have spaces here in the top of the iFixit kit. Over here we've got our tweezers and spudgers and little things for moving parts around. And then we also have a full iFixit toolkit, which is probably the best toolkit for this kind of work. And then we have a notepad and pen, which is used for writing down notes and making observations so you don't end up doing things incorrectly. And so you can put the camera back together again. If there's like a longer screw or something, you'd write down, position, 2A in my grid up here, long screw for holding in sensor or something. Okay, let's get started. Pro tip. If ever working with Japanese electronics, always use JIS standard bits and not Phillips heads. So the bottom plate involves taking out, let's have a look, see now. Okay. Battery retention clip, this screw. Yeah, so it's like 3 in the battery compartment, so let's get to disassembly. I need a smaller bit for this. Okay. Yeah, so 2 top screws longer, so front screws longer. So apparently it's This one, and this one, and the bottom plate should just lift off. Okay, first part done. This is the Wi-Fi wire. You can see a little motor here for driving the shutter. You got your IBIS shaker. Okay, that's part one done. Okay. So now we need to take out the EVF. Top screws longer again. Two and two. So apparently there's one in here. So I need to take out these two screws here. Same side. Okay, so now apparently we need picks and tools to get the adhesive off. This here typical Nikon adhesive, which is generally not too bad. In case you're wondering why I feel comfortable kind of jamming in the pick like this, it's because I'm looking at the pictures on the teardown and I can see that there is a smooth black piece of plastic along here. I would never carelessly jam a fucking tool like this somewhere where I didn't know what was behind it. That looks enough. And apparently the whole back should just sort of pop off. I got it out. There was a screw I had missed. I think I was pulled way too hard for not to have missed a screw. Okay. So now we should just lift apart. Like so. Excellent. And the back cover is off. So we'll just put that away. Okay. Whew. Okay, I think the next step is the EVF removal. Although I think, no, it's blocking access to that big heavy screw there. I need to take that out. EVF. Okay, so apparently it should just slide right out if I get into the diopter, which apparently there's a way in there. I can't see it though. I don't even know how half of these open. Oh, there we go, it's just caught under that. That Wi-Fi wire continues on, so it's going to remain attached. So there we have the main board out now. Whew. Mama. Managed to get the diopter out. Holy crap, that was hard. And the EVF just lifted clean out. So that's your little electronic viewfinder screen and some optics. There's even a weather sealing gasket on it. Okay, now we've access to the brain. Well, one of the brains. This is where the brain is, it's been disconnected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then this should just... Okay. There we have it, our goal. The sensor assembly. Got that beauty. Okay, time for the nerve-wracking part. Okay, now the dust shaker. Okay, so the full spectrum filter is now installed. I lined it up the best I could. Vision actually said you have to glue the filter in for some reason, because it's not the right size and this cover needs to go over it then. But the filter's now in. I'm following the instructions to glue it in. Then we need to remove the dust shaker entirely. And honestly, there's going to be dust inside here. Like, I've taken the sensor apart and the filters out in a non-clean room environment, so there's going to be dust. There's no way around that. That's just the way it is. So there's going to be some dust in the sensor. Hopefully it'll be minimal. I put the filter in as quick as I could. I cleaned it. You know, popped this out, popped this in as quick as I could, so it didn't end up, you know, piling dust everywhere. We need to remove the dust shaker, so this piece of wire here needs to be taken out entirely. And if we actually look at the filters on the Z6, so this is the bottom filter, so there's two filters. This is the lower filter, this bluey green kind of color correcting one. It's also UV block, or UV and IR blocking, and that sits kind of down where this filter is sitting currently, where the clear filter is. Then on top of that, with a little bit of a space between them, we have this dust shaker filter, and this is an IR cut filter as well. And then we have a dust shaker on top, and that sits up a little further on a ridge, and then this holds it all together mechanically. So there's no glue on this sensor. That's how the camera blocks IR light. But now that we've taken them out and replaced them with a piece of clear fused quartz, you don't use silica, you use quartz glass, because it is UV transmissive. I need to get this cable up. All the cables are connected. Okay. I think this is enough to test. EVF is working, so I'm just blocking the sensor and looking, so that's good. Okay. God, I love how quickly this thing goes together. This camera's really well designed. Right, rubber 5C. Okay, that's working. Right, apparently it's full spectrum now. Need to go test it.